Welcome back to another video. As you can see, we are outside busy working today. Now we're starting off with a little bit of fun. I have got hold of some soap flakes. These were $1.99 and we are going to bath one of the sheep. Now the reason for that, some people may say, what on earth do you want to do that for? Well, a lot of people will bath them if they're showing them and things like that, but we've got one. I'm looking at her and I'm thinking she looks a little bit thin. I want to have a good check over of her and I want to make sure that she's okay and get her nicely cleaned up and just take her away from the rest of the flock. Give her a little bit of something separate to eat because they're just living on grass at the moment, and I've got a few bits of lamb food left there that she can just have a small handful of. Hopefully make friends so that she doesn't freak out too much when she's getting bathed. But Grace has got a little friend over, so they're going to do this for me today. So I'm just going to prepare a small bucket. They've got some buckets of warm water, and I'm just going to prepare some soap flakes in one of those buckets, and then they're going to use them to bath her, get all of any, manky stuff out of her back end and things like that. Have a good check, make sure she's fit and healthy, rinse her off, and then we're going to towel dry her. Now this says up to 8 washes for this packet here. They look fantastic, they look like coconut flakes. So I'm just going to sprinkle some in this bucket, and we're going to use this as our kind of one that we're going to use to wash her, and then all of the others will be for rinsing. The girls are just getting everything ready to do that, so while they're doing that here, I'm going to be working in the jungle of a greenhouse, which I haven't really been in. The weather still here has been so changeable. We had 2 days of sun, and on those 2 days of sun I was busy doing other things, so I couldn't get out here. So I'm going to take a look and see how bad things are.
Hey Mug! Muggy! Your friends are this way.
Well, that's a good job done. We've towel dried her off, and she's back with her friends now. So it's a windy day, but it's not cold at all, so that it's the best time really to do it, so that hopefully she can dry in the wind. But she is sort of dry to touch, so hopefully she'll be totally fine. But we checked her over, cleaned her up. There's no problems whatsoever. She does look a little bit thin, but she's got the same grass and everything else that everybody else has got. We might need to worm them. I'll check with Stephen, who, as you can see, is a little bit busy at the moment. Now, you'd think that we've covered this before. We've been on this area multiple times in the videos. We only just put these here recently when we took down the chicken pen. So obviously Stephen put them over there just for storage. But the problem now is that we're really struggling with rodents and essentially rats in this area here. So we've got the chickens all down here, and the rats are brought in. The rats come where the food is, but they are using this undergrowth area here to live in. It's perfect for them because there is loads of places where they can tunnel in the bricks and things like that. So we've decided we're going to start getting this cleared, which is what Stephen's working on today. Well, looks like Stephen's had a bit of a Britney moment. He's gone and done it again. Thankfully, nothing too serious this time. He has smashed his finger between 2 concrete slabs, and so it looks as though he's gonna, well, and in case anyone's a little bit squeamish, we won't go there. So he is resting inside. I've given him something to eat, some painkillers. He's got a cold compress. He's gone a little bit lightheaded, so he's resting inside under the supervision of the kids. I'm sure he'll be fine underneath their supervision. So rather than just sit and watch him, he's got his phone, he can ring me if he needs me. I'm going to work in stores, which is our next project that we were going to be working on today. So let me show you what it looks like at the moment. So this was supposed to be our cold room, but actually it's one of the warmest rooms in the whole property. Typically, we have got our old kitchen cabinets in here. We'll get to all this in just a moment. What we wanted to use this for was to store all of our winter crops in here, and it's fine over winter. There's no problems with doing that with the root vegetables and, any squash, pumpkins, things like that, because it really does get cold in the winter. It just doesn't stay cool throughout the summer, especially with the strange weather that seems to be becoming the norm for us here in England. Well, the whole world, I think. So what we're going to do, we've decided that we are going to redo all of this. We're going to take all of the cupboards out, because the cupboards, now that they've kind of settled, they were never designed to be perfect kitchen, you know, levelled cupboards and things. They're difficult to get open. We're not using them properly. Basically, we're going to have an open plan in here, which is just a continuation of the kitchen and bar area that we've got out there. We're going to put a sink in here as well, because at the moment we don't have a sink, but we do have pipes in here because there's a tap outside. But before we can even start and see what we're doing, we need to get it completely cleared, because at the minute it's a bit of a dumping ground. I've got herbs in here. I'll show you that now, and then I'm going to get started on this while I wait to see how Stephen's doing. So this funny contraption that's just been kind of hung here, although it is touching the floor, I think, has got herbs in it from this one down over. It's absolutely huge. I didn't realise when I bought it that it was going to be quite so big, but it's perfect because it's got the zips on, so you can put the herbs in and there'll be no extra bugs or anything going there, assuming that there's none on your herbs when you put them in. This is full of apple mint, so if you remember a couple of videos ago, I cut down loads of the apple mint, so that's what's in here. We've got some shallots and other things that I've got in this bucket, and essentially it's become a bit of a dumping ground whilst we were really busy before holidays, and I've not really been back in here since. So I'm going to have a look, see if this mint's dried or if it's gone mouldy, because it's been very damp just when we harvested it. So I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. Just have a quick look at one, and then it sounds good. No, it looks as though the it's got a funny colour there. Some of them look okay. Let's go in the light. Yeah, you see this one looks like it's been damp and then it's dried off. Oh, that's a shame. Right, what we're going to have to do then is I'm going to get some things in the dehydrator and get that going, because at the moment everything really is damp. That contraption is fantastic. If you've got the herbs that you pick them on a nice dry day, that'll really work. And what I'm thinking about doing is just hanging it kind of out here in the rafters maybe. It will sway about quite a bit with the winds that we've got. But yeah, I'll get this emptied and we'll just start emptying the whole of the storeroom, I think. For the next hour or so. Unfortunately, every layer's the same, so this will go on the compost heap. It smells divine though. I haven't got them all out yet. There's quite a few left, so this basket's going to be more than full, and I'll make sure that all goes on the compost, and at least we'll benefit from that. The good news, the silver lining, is that this stuff grows like wildfire, grows like mint. So there's plenty more of that where that came from. I will just put it in the dehydrator, because the one that I've used in the dehydrator, I did some just before we went and just popped it in this packaging, and that has just stayed absolutely fine, thoroughly dried. You just can't get as much in the dehydrator, unfortunately. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this down and get this in a jar, so that can go on the shelf. And then just get the rest of this cleared out. I'll use some of these boxes that I've got on the side, and I'll come back to you when all of this is done. I think we're about done. So all of these cupboards are now empty, all of those. Everything that was underneath here is out as well. There's a few jars left on the top, but that's for a recipe that I'm about to do, and then so a few things to go in the kitchen. That is a bag of rubbish. So the dog bags with the food that comes, I always use them as rubbish bags because they are super durable for anything, and you can use them for liquid and stuff as well. The canning burner is still in here. We'll move that once we actually start moving the cupboards and things, but this now is ready for Stephen to be able to take all of this down that he's just put up, bless him. It's a really good piece of work done. I've still got a few things that I've just moved into this bar area that I need to move over into their temporary location, but that's ready for Stephen to start taking a, knowing him, sledgehammer to. I'm only joking. He's come back out now. He's feeling much better. His fingers the wrong colour, shall we say. His nails looking a little bit unhealthy, but I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. I've given 2 paracetamol and sent him on his way. I'm not that heartless. I'm going to blend these up and get the other couple of bits of jobs done that I've just put out here. There's some more jars there in that crate, things like that. And then that's the start of the project, at least, for us to be able to get this a better functioning storeroom for us. Well, it's the night after. I've taken the opportunity while Stephen has stopped drilling for a moment just to quickly show you where we're up to. So he's taking down all of the cupboards, which you can see we painted after the cupboards went up. So that's going to be one of the first jobs. I think it'll probably be my job. You won't be surprised to hear either that it is raining again outside. So I've just got tea on. This is what it looks like at the moment. I've got a bit of a concoction over here. This is all for the compost. So I've got some kohlrabi that was in the fridge, but unfortunately it looks as though it's been frozen, and around the edges there it's a little bit tough. Anyway, everything else is looking fine. We've got some sweet potatoes, some normal potatoes, some turnips from the garden. I've got a leftover onion before we start using just our own onions, because they're now being harvested. I made some cranberry mustard ages ago, as you can see, September 2021, and it was awful. I'm hoping that it'll have had time to mellow, because we're going to try this with our tea tonight. I'm not going to put it in the recipe just in case it's still awful, but Stephen can try that and let me know how it is.
Stephen can't try it and let me know.
Perfect timing. So essentially we're just going to do a bit of a hash tonight. We're going to use some of our own sausage meat and pork mince with all of these veggies while Stephen's busy working in there. Well, it looks like he's got everything down and ready to go. Well, what needs to go to the tip, which is this, is it called plywood, I think? I can never remember, I get them mixed up. But there are some solid wood doors there that certainly won't be going to the tip, and there's also the shelves that you originally made that won't be going to the tip either. But for now, he's going to get all of this in the car just to get rid of it straight away, because the tip's open till a little bit later tonight. But it's a busy night here, because whilst I've got the tea just cooking away quietly, or dinner as some people might know it, tea to us here in the northeast of England, we have got some amazing pig fat. Now this, you can get pig fat from your local butcher. You can freeze it and render it down into lard whenever you've got time. So tonight I've got the slow cooker on, so this is a big 8-litre slow cooker, I think that one is, and I'm just going to get this pig fat chopped up. Ideally it would be minced. I'm not going to get the mincer out and put it through the mincer, because it can leave your mincer just, well, greasy for ages, and it does clog them up a little bit too. So I'm just going to chop this up with the knife that I've got here into as many small pieces as possible, and I'm just going to get it rendering down in that slow cooker whilst we go about the rest of our business. We do buy olive oils for use in salad dressings and other things like that, just because of how good they are for you, but the only other fat that we cook with is this pig fat. We do have the likes of the sprays, which we're moving away from, that we got when we first started using the air fryer, but I've read bad things about them since, and to be honest, you don't even need the sprays on the air fryer that I've found out. So the lard, when this becomes lard from the pigs, this is, I don't know if this is leaf lard, which is around the kidneys, I think, or if it's just off the back. But either way, I've always found them fantastic for just baking with, cooking with, all of that good stuff. So you can replace some of the butter if you're making pastry, for example, short crust pastry. Using this kind of stuff, it's amazing. So I'll show you the end result whenever that is, because it does take a long time to get done. So if it doesn't come out, if it's not done before this video comes out, then I'll show you in the next one.
Because we spend a lot of time outside at the minute, we're struggling with flies, so we've used these before once and they worked absolutely brilliant. So we've just ordered another couple. The red top fly traps. They're just like a bag that you put a solution in and a lid on, and for some reason it just attracts the flies like anything, and it can hold up to 20,000 flies according to this. So we'll get a couple up and check on them in a week, see what happens. And that's it, ready to rock and roll.
While Stephen's putting the fly trap up, I'm just going to check on this pork fat, which is already looking amazing. I'm so surprised it's been on maybe an hour and a half. So I'm going to leave this whilst I go in and get a few jobs done in the house, and then we shall meet again. So this is not necessarily how you want to do this. I got a bit sick of trying to chop it down because it was, ideally you want the pork fat to be a little bit frozen when you're chopping it. It makes it so much easier, and this wasn't, so it was quite sticky. But can you see, if I just give it a bit of a knock, there's already a lot of fat coming there. So I'll give this another couple of hours and I'll come out and I shall ladle some off tonight and get some more pork in, and possibly leave it overnight. We'll see what I think when I come back out. Now, one thing you don't want is to put a lid on, but obviously I want to keep the dreaded flies off, so we've just got a tea towel over the top, which will still absorb any moisture that's coming off, won't let it drop back down, whereas if I put the slow cooker lid on, that'll just get all of the moisture on the lid and it'll go back in. The last thing you want in here is water. Yeah, one on the left.
Your left.
My left. Well, we're with the pigs, as you can see, and Stephen is distracting them with their evening meal whilst he weighs them. To weigh the pigs, you actually take a measurement around the girth, which is what he's doing now, and then I believe it's from the withers, if it was a horse, all the way to the end of the tail. Or is it between the ears?
Between the ears to the base of the tail.
And then there's a calculation to do, which he will do, because I don't do maths.
So you do girth times girth, which in this case is 42 inches, so it's 42 by 42 times the length, which is 50. So times 42 times 42 times 50 equals that, and then you divide that by 400, which gives you in pounds, so it's 220 pounds. So you divide that by 2.2 to get it in kilos, so it's exactly 100 kilos. But that's not bad because that's live weight, so by the time you get it down, you're going to take 30% of that off, so that's just like a 70 kilo pig. So another month or so, and they'll be ready to rock and roll.
Are you pleased with how they're coming on?
Yeah, I thought it'd be heavier than that.
All right, that's good then, because we were worried that we were going to have to get the trailer in here, which, as you can see, everybody, it's a bog. So there's a little bit, and it's really windy, so I hope you can hear me over that. So there's a little bit of ground left. They don't seem to be burrowing or to be rooting where their oil tanker bed is.
It's a bit small.
What's that one then?
One's like an inch small around the girth, so
Not too much then.
good. Thought we were going to have a panic on it, have to get rid of them quickly.
So while Stephen does his measurements again, the worry was the pigs just seemed to be growing massively, very quickly. Sorry, I'm conscious of the wind. Very quickly, and we weren't going to be able to get a trailer up to them because of this severe mud situation that we've got. Obviously the trailer can come in the field here and it wouldn't be a problem, but because there's no gate on here, I've told you guys before, we don't have a gate and therefore it can't get left open, but because there's no gate on, to bring the trailer in, we normally cut the fence to get in the trailer and then we go. The wind's
Even at its biggest measurement's only like 110 kilos, so
happy with that?
yeah, good.
Fantastic. So the plan is we wanted to leave the trailer in the paddock for a couple of days for them to get used to it, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Look at this, we've got sun. It's actually really warm, it's lovely. So Stephen has finally got the ride-on lawnmower working. It needs a brand new battery, but he's jump started it using his car, and we're just literally topping, I'm watching. He's topping this little paddock here that we've got, which is where our chickens free range. Now we can't put the goats or the sheep in here at the moment because they're not used to such long lush grass, and no doubt it'll give them really bad stomachs. So the idea is that we want to have the goats in here in the future full time, rather than stuck in under those trees where they are now. So the idea is we top this paddock, we're keeping all of the other animals off it except the chickens, and because we've got about a week's worth of no rain now, believe it or not, we're going to come in and Stephen's just going to keep turning it over with this a couple of times a day, or at least once a day, given that he'll be at work. and we're going to try and make our own hay, just for a little bit of winter fodder for the animals. We do buy it in for the horses, obviously. We get hay, not haylage or silage. So if it works, it'll be absolutely fantastic, and maybe that's something we could do every year. If nothing else, it's for a bit of fun. Oh, he's shouting hi. Grace has just come out. So she's just doing her animal duties. So yeah, really excited to be able to do that. If it works, fantastic. If not, you know, we haven't lost anything. And he's having a lot of fun doing it.